Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell, Glenn Martin, here to talk about the Ravens' heartbreaking loss in this post-game episode. The Ravens lose today, of course, week 2 to the Dolphins. Final score 42-38. Lots and lots to talk about. Certainly, we're not going to cover all of there is to talk about today, but we're going to get into our initial thoughts. And then, of course, as the week unfolds, we'll continue to talk about it because there's a lot of meat on this bone, Glenn. That is for sure a lot to talk about.
Man,
All right.
I can't remember a more disappointing loss in recent time. I mean, this was disastrous.
And the worst part of it all is that Tyreek Hill is one of my least favorite players in the NFL. I literally, even if he beat the crap out of me, I think if I saw him in person, I would still take a swing on him.
Well, yeah, okay. So you got some personal beefs, but what I would say, I can't remember a time. I mean, you go in the fourth quarter, you're up 35-14, and you don't win that game. You don't win a game where you open the game. The first play of the game is a return for a touchdown. You don't win a game where your quarterback has 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, no sacks. How do you lose that game?
Yeah, and on top of that, let's see. They had what 8 penalties for 51 yards. We had 1 penalty for 5.
How did they lose the game, Jimbo?
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Can I give you a couple thoughts here, just off the shooting from the hip, before we get into it? And we can dig back into it. Chris White, good question. Fire who? I just want to say this. I think that the defense in the second half looked exhausted. The defense in the second half looked inexperienced. Obviously, they were with Armour Davis out there. Looked like his feet were in 2 buckets of cement. And then
and he played so well early
on.
He was so on time. He was on time on a beautiful pass breakup, and then he blew up that quick receiver screen for a negative play. And then it was a mental error.
Yeah, right. Well, you know what happens, Glenn? Young guys start feeling their oats, and then what happens? You get humbled. Everyone in the NFL gets humbled.
That was just a mental bust, man. It looked like Hamilton, like Sean's point now, was supposed to have over-the-top coverage and just was nowhere to be found. I mean, oh my goodness, Jimbo.
Yeah.
This was heartbreaking. Sean says, guys, I don't even have words. 0. How does this happen? Our defense made Tua look like Mahomes, even after Lamar played one of the best games he's ever played. I can't believe this. The defense was so, I mean, it was like 2 different halves, 2 different teams, depending on which half you looked at. The first 3 quarters, they were fantastic. In the fourth quarter,
this is what I want to know. Whose job is it on the defensive side of the ball to say, look, we're ahead. We've been playing well. We're feeling ourselves a little bit. It was apparent to me watching the game, right? Everyone let their foot off the gas. Everyone started relaxing a little bit, celebrate. Whose job is it to turn around and say, grab these guys by the collar? Hold on a second. This is an NFL game, and it is not over yet. Because I feel like everyone started relaxing. As soon as you take a breath, bad things happen. You take a breath when the game is over. You don't take a breath. You don't relax until the clocks are all at 0. And that was an issue for me because I felt like they stepped back, they started sailing or coasting, whatever you want to say, and then end up, just like you said, they can't come back in the fourth quarter. But whose job is it to rally these guys? Because this to me was a sign of an immature group that was feeling themselves too much and didn't have anyone to put them in check.
Well, I think maybe that may have been the cause maybe for the first touchdown, but I think that was quickly out the door, and they just played poorly. They had mental lapse on the back end. And look, they had a secondary that's probably not played at all together as a group. This is probably the first time they were all together and out there. And there was just too many mental breakdowns. And then the speed of those receivers, we were scared about it coming into this game. We talked about it. And look, they were young guys they were relying on with Armour Davis and Pepe. And even Marcus Peters, he got beat on that deep bomb and he looked rusty. It looked like there was rust. Just didn't see it in the first 3 quarters. Tom says, this is all on our defense. Everyone wanted Wink out of town, but look what happened. Also, Owe is a no-show in the first 2 games of the season.
Well, what about that? Let's go back to that touchdown with Peters, though. Even in that one, you talked about Kyle Hamilton and the other one. It seems like Kyle Hamilton was supposed to be there as well. And like they talked about last week, they getting a bit nosy and, as far as what was going on in the backfield, and Tyreek Hill runs right past him as well.
That may have been the case. I just think that
Either way, Marcus got
Peters was
smoked. Like, I'm
far,
not
yeah.
absolving him of that.
Well,
Sure.
you could if he was playing the short zone and had
And
over
knew
the
there was
top
something gonna
help,
be
but
over
it
the
looked like
top.
he was playing some cover 3 or man and had responsibilities to follow him deep and just got burned. But man, 100%. Tom's right though about Odafe. I kept saying it during the game. No show, and I get it. You know, he's going to get a lot of attention, but I don't care. He talked about wanting to be dominant, wanting to be consistent. You know, the great pass rushers get attention. They still get it done.
Yeah, you
know what
don't
I
think
mean?
Justin Houston saw it his whole career back in the day when he was the man? You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
it's not an
That's not an excuse
yeah, it's not an excuse. Not an excuse.
to
But
be a
I
no-show.
I still feel like whether it was those big plays, I feel like in the second half you saw a couple things happen, and you can blame it on conditioning, you can blame it on early in the season, you can blame it on mental lapse, whatever it is. But there were some big things on defense. I felt like the gang tackling and the finishing plays really wasn't the same as it was in the first half. Obviously the pressure on Tua wasn't the same. And then you know, obviously the obvious miscommunications, but man, the yards after catch were just ridiculous. Like, I mean, it was a fear that we had, and we really didn't have too many answers. And the yards after catch and the deep pass was just a tough one. The pressure, Justin Houston was all just, you talked about Odafe. Justin Houston was assaulting Tua in the first half. He's gonna, like, how much can you rely on a guy that's 38,000 years old? Yeah. No offense to Justin Houston, but I'm just saying he needs some help there.
You know,
and
it didn't. It didn't help when Steven Means gets carted off the field.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that already a thin group, and you lose a guy. That I think that certainly impacted the second half of the game when you lose Steven Means, and now you're left with Owe and Houston to pick up pretty much all of the snaps on the outside. Well, that's got to get tiresome.
Let me ask you about this, Glenn, because I saw a tweet. Somebody tweeted at us, Jordan tweeted at us, and he said, if you think the Ravens have a good enough pass rush to go to the Super Bowl, you're crazy. We need to trade for pass rush ASAP.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how many teams are going to be trading anytime soon until they realize that they're out of it and they have a guy they may not be able to keep. So it's going to be tough right now. I think they might be dependent on Ajabo coming back along with Bowser. Spencer says Dolphins aren't that good. We handed them the game. Yeah, I mean, look, you got to give their offense credit for what they did. They certainly went out there and made plays.
They hung in there. They kept fighting. They never said die. Never.
Yeah, their defense did just enough to keep the Ravens off the scoreboard down the stretch of the fourth quarter to make it happen. But, Jimbo, I want to go through some stats. Okay, here we go. Billy Seals. But I do want to go through some stats, and then I want to go through our keys to the game and address them. Billy Seals says, how do we not learn that going for it on fourth is not the way when the defense knows it's coming? Armour, Davis, and Hamilton look like rookies. Well, certainly
ups and downs.
Yeah, I think early they looked phenomenal. Even not even just early. I mean, Armour Davis certainly early looked fantastic. Struggled in the second half, but it's hard to know because we don't know the play call and the player's responsibility in that play call.
You saw the disputing there, so it calls into question more what was going on as far as the miscommunication.
No doubt about it. And as far as the fourth down conversions, I mean, yeah, this is what made the Ravens so good in 2019, that they seemingly got those every single time they attempted it. Today, 1 for 3 on fourth down. 1 for 3. You know, and then the one is a fumble. It's just makes you just scratch your head. And in a game where you don't have a sack on your quarterback, he goes for 4 touchdowns, nearly 500 yards, and you have a special teams touchdown, lose the game. It's just unheard of.
All that said, I'm not saying Lamar Jackson didn't have a credible game, but just like you said, fumble in the red zone is brutal.
It is brutal, but the question there is, was it the snap? We don't know.
Was it? Yeah, that's true.
I don't like the call. I put that as a note. I don't like a QB sneak in that moment. Let him get in shotgun so he can see where he's going.
And give him options.
Yeah, not that it worked out in other areas, but I hate the QB sneak for Lamar. I don't think he should be that. Let him be in the shotgun. He knows how to pick the running lanes. He's good at it.
Right. Well, yeah, and we can get back to that. Really quickly, Sean Pisker started to send another one. Sean, never say sorry. Absolutely fine. Keep sending them. Guys, all I can say is if this defense plays like this against Allen, Burrow, Brady, maybe even Winston, we're going to be torched.
Well, hey, let's cross the Allen bridge because that's who's next. And you're damn right. That's the scary.
Yeah.
Dude, They are loaded. Gabriel Davis, monster. Diggs, monster. Jamison Crowder. I mean, they replaced Beasley with Crowder. Fantastic. I mean, they're loaded, but we're not. I mean, Knox. Look, we'll talk about them next week. But yeah, I'm with you, Sean. I'm nervous.
100%. We're there. As soon as we lost this game, I went right to the schedule. Right to the schedule, because I said, just like you said, I think before we started, this game will haunt the Ravens later on down in the season. Absolutely
No
haunt them.
It's an AFC matchup, a game you're leading 35-14 in the fourth quarter.
And you know it's a team that's going to be fighting for a wild card spot because most likely they're not going to win their division.
100%.
So if we end up in a similar scenario, right?
Well, at 2-0, they believe they're winning that division, and I would too if I was them. You know,
I mean, yeah, they can believe that, but they're not going to beat the.
They're
Bills
not
in the
picked to
division.
be. They're not picked to be. But hey, I would feel that way if I'm a Dolphin. Like, why not?
Fair enough.
But hey, let me appreciate it, Jordan. If you got a comment that you just forgot to
there.
put up, throw it up. We'll certainly look at it. So, all right, let's get into these quickly. I want to go down the stats. So, obviously, score 42-38 in favor of the Dolphins. First downs, they have 27. We had 22. Total plays, they ran 69 total plays to the Ravens 54. Ravens had some big plays, so that changed that.
Right.
Total yards, the Ravens 473, Dolphins, 547. Both had 11 drives on the day. Tua 461 through the air. Lamar Jackson 318 on the ground. The Ravens certainly bested them, nearly doubling them up, 86-155 for the Ravens. Penalties. How do you lose? Another thing, 8 penalties for 51 yards for the Dolphins, just 1 penalty for 5 yards for the Ravens. And again, 2 turnovers. So Jimbo, just to recap, your quarterback has 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, is sacked 0 times. You win the penalty battle 8-1. You win the turnover battle 2-0. And you have a kick return for a touchdown to open the game, and you lost the game. Like, this is it sounds like I'm lying at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could console you in any way, shape, or fashion, Glenn, but I have no good words for you. I mean, it was just an absolute embarrassment. They fell apart at the end. I mean, look, any team can get a lead on any team. We see this every year, March Madness, when the 15 seed comes out with a 2 seed. And jumps out to the lead. And then what happens? The 2 seed kicks in gear and they mash the 15 seed, right? Like anybody emotionally can come out and get a lead, but great teams are the ones that put their foot on your neck and finish the game. And we just simply are not there yet as a team. And you'd have to prove me otherwise because we're not doing it. Sure, we did against the Jets. Who are the Jets? So, I mean, goodness gracious, it's just so many things in our favor and we still can't get it done. Boy. The only thing that the Ravens can do with this game, the only useful thing they can do with this game is use it, right? To learn from it and say,
well, they can feel really good about a lot of what happened on offense. They can certainly feel good about that.
The run
and
game
special
still
teams
wasn't spectacular, except for Lamar.
No, I think
the running backs are just.
I think you're being light on it, honestly, which I can't wait to get into. But Daryl says as soon as Marlon left, it all went downhill with the rookies. Marlon was certainly balling. Did he leave for good? Did he not come back at the end of the game?
I didn't see. Yeah, DK shaking his head no.
Damn. But that hurt. He came up, man. He throws his body around like a linebacker, man, and he comes into the game with an injury. And my pops was saying the same thing. He's like, man, he hits like a linebacker, but it makes me nervous because sometimes those hits you can end up being on the bad end of it, even if you're the one doing the hitting.
100%. The other thing too is, man, some people were questioning, ourselves included, because we heard it from the media that Fuller was struggling in camp. But goodness, after this game, you realize how valuable a guy like that is.
We missed him.
Bet out there, man.
Yeah, and a guy who can tackle. I mean, he's just he was really perfect for what we needed. But hey, I want to quickly go into our keys to the game and all that stuff and kind of run through them. So offensively, keys to the game. Jimbo, I think they kind of nailed yours, but they really fell short on mine. You had them make them pay for cover 0, stay true to your strategy to do so. And we saw a bunch of big chunk plays, and I think that was kind of their way of attacking this. If you're going to single up on the outside, we're going to have a quick pass and get the ball in the receiver's hands and let him run by your guys.
And I even like, to be honest with you, it didn't work out. I even like the one where they knew it was coming. They motioned likely over to give Lamar, to give him one more blocker, give him just enough time to have, who was that? Rashad?
Andrews,
No, that was Andrews and Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah.
Down, just on go routes, right? Like,
Yep.
just I like that. It didn't work out, but I like that as well.
Mhm.
So they had a lot of good strategies for that defense. It's
And a bunch of chunk plays. I mean, you talk
bunch
about
of chunk plays.
Lamar goes for 80. Rashad Bateman goes for 75. I mean, Isaiah Likely went for 35. I mean, there was a bunch of big-time chunk plays. So I think they kind of nailed yours. But, Jimbo, the run game, still, Lamar goes 9. Yeah, Lamar goes 9 for 119 and a touchdown. But then after him, Justice Hill, 3 for 16. Kenyon Drake, 6 for 8. Mike Davis, 5 for 4, Jimbo.
And can we see more Justice Hill? I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, but the dude is the only one I see running with power. Right? You know what he's running with? He's running with urgency and conviction.
He's got burst. He's the only one.
Yeah, he's the only one running like he's not sure if he's going to have a job tomorrow.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you can't have those guys be that abysmal behind that. I mean, look, the coaching staff was saying, please, guys, we're believing in you. We're giving you second and short stuff, third and short stuff, fourth and short stuffed again. I mean, it's unbelievable how much they were trying to get this run game going, and it just simply couldn't get off the ground. Not getting the push from the offensive line. They're getting absolutely bullied. It's disturbing to watch because I think part of this is why we haven't seen J.K. Dobbins active yet, because I don't think the coaching staff believes that it's a running back issue as much as it's an offensive line issue. And they're worried that bringing J.K. back behind this line is probably not the safest thing for him.
Yeah, maybe not for him physically, and certainly maybe not for his confidence either at this point, right? Like,
yeah, you're coming out there, you got no hole.
Kid? Yeah, you give him 8 carries, and exactly, and he's running into the back of his own guys.
Now, I will say this, Jimbo. How beneficial are the Ravens? The Steelers lay an egg at home against the Patriots. The Jets come back and beat the Browns 31-30. And under
Joey Flacco, baby.
That's right. Joey Flacco out there throwing tutties. And then I just saw the Cowboys go up 7-0 early against the Bengals. I have that game on right now. And the Bengals are about to punt in their first possession. So up 7-0, and now they're punting. So the only thing that could help us is it looks like the whole AFC North might be in trouble this week.
Yeah, so we're down to rooting for a backup quarterback for Dallas, right?
Oh, this whole house, we're Cowboy fans today, boy. You better believe it, dude. Go boys.
God,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, we need it.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, just to keep it light for a second, remember when I got trashed because I said there's not much of a difference between Joe Flacco and Matty Ice?
Oh, yeah, Matty Ice.
Yeah, how am I looking today? How are those bad takes? How are those bad Jimmy Haskell takes?
Dude, Jacksonville, dude. Don't sleep on Jacksonville.
All I'm saying is that he put up 0 points, dude.
And he threw, 3 or 4 picks? Eddie says having no good run game plays a part in this loss, but also the defense sold so bad in the most
important quarter, man. 100%.
I mean, they give up 28 points in the fourth quarter, Jimbo.
It's 28. Unacceptable. It is unacceptable, McDonald. What are you doing?
I mean, he hit the ground running in that Jets game and passed with flying colors, but took a huge step back in the fourth quarter of this game.
What happened in the secondary? That's what I want to get. I mean,
they lost Marlon Humphrey, and I guess that was more than they could overcome. I guess that's what it was. Those young boys ain't ready.
Where was the breakdown in communication? I need to know. The media needs to be on them about where the breakdown was. Was it a breakdown in communication, or was it truly, I'm not as fast as Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, or Jalen Waddle.
That bomb to Tyreek Hill where Marcus Peters got burnt. It was so crazy how, and Marcus, look, it's his first game back. Like, I can't bag on him for it, but it was also crazy how the ball was in the air. I felt like forever.
Yep.
No makeup speed, dude. None at all.
None. He don't have it yet. Not yet. I hope it comes back, but it ain't back yet. That's for damn sure.
It was brutal.
Jersey Mike says, I miss Wink. Bring in JPP.
I don't know about the I miss Wink thing. I think it's too early, Mike.
I tell you what, though, Giants are balling. They're surprising a lot of people, I think, that had them as being just another
basement team, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just another trash season. But I think they're kind of shocking some people. But, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing JPP, though, especially with the Means injury.
That one, right.
No
100%.
problems with that. The Giants win today, by the way. Baker 0 for 2 in his Carolina start.
He's a
Ethan says
monster.
male cheerleaders weren't loud enough today. Shake my head. Well, I don't know who, if he's referring to the crowd in general or sincerely just referring to the male cheerleaders. But if that's the case, step it up, guys. Step it up.
No excuses, dude.
That's right. I don't. Billy said missing that ball control run game. Hard to go into a shootout with the speed of the Dolphins. Different game if we run the third quarter away.
We had an 8. Look, say what you want. Like, I understand the ball control situation. I agree with you, Billy, but that 18-play drive, we came away with no points.
11 minutes.
No points.
Yep. Dude, their offense was on the bench for I think it said 32 minutes.
Dude.
And we came away with 0. Zero.
On.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's got to get better. You cannot look, I think we're all happy. Can we all say that we're happy with the passing game and that, let's be honest, there's some doubters of whether Greg Roman could have done this and some doubters whether this receiving core was good enough for this to even be a possibility. And all I see through the first 2 games is a bunch of receivers catching touchdowns. Now, Mark Andrews did his thing, but Bateman got another one. That's 2 in a row. Robinson gets 1. Duvernay had 2 last week. He gets the return touchdown this week. I think we need to give a little credit to the passing game, but they got to find the run attack.
How is this a problem in a Greg Roman offense? It is literally blowing my mind. At the end of the day, it has to be. I don't know. I've noticed, look, tendencies are tendencies. Every coach has tendencies. But every time, to me, it's a critical play. It's a critical down, and we're going to run the ball. It's always behind the right. It's the same spot we did behind Marshall Yanda.
Well, because they like Zeitler better than they like Powers.
But
it's too predictable.
Right. We got to do something here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when they just stick their big hogs over top of Zeitler, poor Zeitler, what do you do at that point?
Yep.
Like, gosh, man. The Ravens are the Falcons of the AFC North. This hurts. Shake my head. We will get better. I don't understand. I've been following the Falcons, so I don't know what the reference is. I don't know if you understand the reference.
Not too. Because they give up big leads because they blow. Monster leads. Yeah. We all remember that Patriots game.
It's a little bit of an overreach, but
I see it. I get.
Yeah, I mean that was a huge loss, but it's certainly not our.
It's not the Super
history.
Bowl. Yeah, Izana says bottom 5 run game without Lamar.
Crazy, dude.
Hashtag
I don't know how it's
defund
happening.
the defense. Yeah, I mean it's really is Ronnie. Because let's be honest, McCary didn't have the best game. I mean, but that's what we expect. He did what I expect him to do. He fought. He hung in there.
Yeah.
And he was a serviceable swing tackle, which is all you get. But Ronnie, is he enough, even if he is 100%, to make the biggest difference? And all of a sudden, this run game is unlocked. I don't know.
You got to keep him in at left guard.
You got to bench Powers, man.
You got to get him out of there. And I want to go back and watch some of the stuff more in depth. But whatever we can do to get more push up front, but this is the only thing that you struggle with a guy like McCary next to Tyler, is that McCary's not a big guy.
No, now you got 2 small guys next.
Right,
to each
and
other.
so how do you get consistent push and play that physical type? Dominating football when you got 2 out of 5 your guys are relatively small. Zeitler's also not the biggest guard out there. Now he obviously gets the job done. He's
pretty big. I mean, he's not a small guy. Neither.
No, and he's above average. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying from a size perspective, it sucks to see. Imagine if they had the size of Falele, if they had the size of Ben Cleveland. You know what I mean? You got these monster guys sitting out there, but if you can't get the job done, you can't get the job done, right? But you got to keep McCary out there, Glenn. You have to.
Oh, I'm so glad. I was literally getting ready to go here, Malik. I'm so glad you went there because we're banging on the defense. We're bagging on the secondary. But Marcus freaking Williams is a boss out there. This dude, I mean, he is way better than we could have ever expected. Far better than the front office could have ever dreamed when they signed him and made them their prize acquisition in the offseason. He once again leads the team in tackles, once again has double-digit tackles. He has not 1, but 2 interceptions. But you're right, Malik. That last one, it was the easiest one of them all, and he couldn't make the play. But shout out to Marcus Williams. The guy has been better than we could have ever hoped for. And I think it's fair to say, I mean, I know my cousin said this earlier, and some people were like, gasp, because this is just sacrilege. But he might be the closest thing that we've seen to Ed
The
Reed since he's
closest,
been
not
gone.
saying that it's close, but the
Right.
closest.
Right.
For
I mean,
sure.
it's him, Weddle, and Earl Thomas.
And as
is
far as
the
ball skills, it's got to be Williams over Weddle. Like, I love Eric Weddle to death, but I don't think
3
he has these
picks.
ball skills. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He's balling. So I had to
And
stop and give him credit,
let's
man.
keep it positive. Can we also give some credit to Broderick Washington, dude, who has stepped up and has played really well? But in that same vein, I do think that the interior pass rush wasn't as consistent. It was still there at moments. It wasn't as consistent as it was last week. And we're going to need every bit of it, in order to have success long-term in this season. So
let's go Travis Jones, right?
Yeah, dude. Let's get back out there, man. Come on. Let's see. Tariq Kikik, elevate Keith Williams as offensive coordinator and find a running back coach. Hey, I don't know if it's that easy.
Hold on. Now we're bagging on. Hold on. You guys, I mean,
because right, arguably the best formulator of a running attack.
No, but you want to. I get what the frustration of the run attack, but Lamar Jackson just went 21 of 29 for 318, 3 touchdowns. He went over 110 yards on the ground, had a touchdown.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
The offense wasn't the problem. I get that the run game struggle. We got to get that, but let's not fire the whole offensive coordinator. I mean,
when the defense
talk about the running back
coach, they gave up 28 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a pretty good answer for that zero blitz, man. I think he had a pretty good answer, better than I thought. I didn't think we'd put up 38.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, dude. I thought it was gonna be a slugfest with a few big plays. It was big play after big play after big play. Lauren Roten says, Laura, my bad, Laura. May I say I think cockiness and being too comfortable maybe lost this game. I did. What? The game? Did you see how pissed Lamar was? I would be livid. Yeah, I mean, sure. I think Lamar should be pissed. I think the entire team should be pissed. But Laura, I find myself agreeing with you in, I don't know about cockiness. I don't know if that's the word, as much as when you get comfortable, problems happen. It's the same thing in a lot of other sports. The most dangerous lead in soccer is 2-0, not 1-0, not 3-2, not, you know what I mean? Because you get comfortable. You go like this. And then you get, you get ramrodded, right? It's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, that was,
and that's absolutely what happened to the Ravens today. As soon as you take a second to breathe, it's too late. These guys are professionals. And yeah, Tua was pushing the ball down the field today. So I'm with you, Laura.
Yeah, by the way, got to give Tua credit, man. We talked about his arm. I mean, you kind of have your questions on that arm, man. He made us pay today, man.
He did. He eat crow, dude. That's what I'm doing. I'm eating crow for dinner.
Yep. Hey, we'll be on here. We'll admit it when we're wrong. Sean Pisker, please make me feel better, guys. Listening to you always helps. But, guys, I can't believe this happened. Man, I want to be – I mean, look, there's bright spots in the game, and some of the stuff you look at is correctable when a lot of it was mental errors in the secondary. But, man, we got to start getting healthier in the secondary. If this Marlon Humphrey thing becomes a big thing.
DK, man. Do you know, was it the groin that was re-aggravated, the same injury that if you find anything,
it looked like he was pulling it like his, I don't know, something upstairs, but maybe that was just an equipment issue. But man, Sean, I wish I could, but I'll say this, it's not going to get any easier next week. It's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, 100%. I guess, and let's see here. The only thing I would say is, like you said, I guess everyone in the division is laying an egg so far. How's that Bengals game looking?
7-3 Cowboys, but I think they actually may have just scored. It might be 14-3. I don't know. I went to commercial. Manny says, we got cocky and relaxed up 2 possessions. Like there was no way we could possibly lose this game. I'm glad we got humbled early in the season. I mean, I would have liked to have just been humbled, but still win. I think there is a way to do that. I think certainly the defense would have had their lesson learned if they could have still made a play at the end and stopped them. But man, I don't like eating this humble pie, man. This is too tough of a pill to swallow, man. That was I thought this game was absolutely in the bag after that last touchdown. I thought the hay was in the barn, as Sandusky likes to say.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I couldn't have been more wrong. Man, it's killing me, Jimbo. Tone the Virgo. I know we have Lamar and Tucker, but if I'm Harbaugh, sometimes you just have to punt the bleeping ball. That failed 4th and 1 gave the Dolphins the momentum they needed.
That's the thing about those 4th and shorts, because it can also take all the wind out of their sails, right?
Yep.
It's so it can swing the momentum so drastically one way or the other, because if you convert on that, the game is, psychologically, we take a serious advantage.
Yep. It's literally such a swing.
Yeah, it's so insane how that works. And so it's so
But
hard
maybe
to tell,
he does
Tone.
things differently, Tone. Like maybe next time,
Right. All you
given
can
the
do is
same
live and learn.
situation, he does kick it because he goes, look, I can't count on this offensive line to get the necessary push. I mean, maybe that's the case. Or maybe we need to be a little more aggressive in those moments and put the ball in Lamar's hands like we did later on when we had everyone sold out that we were running it short up against the goal line, and he found Mark Andrews wide open. He could have hit Pat Ricard, who was next to him, wide open, and he could have hit Josh Oliver on the other side of the field,
and
who was
thrown
wide
it
open.
left-handed.
Exactly. He could have drop punted it to him, and they would have caught it. So maybe they just need to be a little more aggressive and get the ball in the air and put the ball in Lamar's hands in a passing capacity. What the flock? You know what? That's all you needed to say. Because what the flock happened today? Jesus Christ.
Oh, sorry, DK, my bad. Joshua Hunter says Roman needs to know when to let Lamar cook. Perfect passer rating and your QB sneaking on third when you know you're going for it on fourth.
Yeah, but it's so tough because how many times has Lamar easily picked that up? Like in the past, easily picked that up, dude.
I think at the end of the day, I mean, we never really saw it throughout the entire game, but the offensive line played really well in the first half.
Yeah.
And he struggled in the second half.
I mean, they didn't play well in the first half as opening up running lanes as much as
That's
I'd
true.
like.
I mean, we didn't see the run game the entire game, right? Like you said, outside
but
of
they
Lamar.
did keep Lamar upright and
yeah,
relatively clean for the most part. You got to give him credit there. They didn't get to Lamar. He had no sacks.
Right.
So, offensively, they played well past pro, but got to open up the run lanes. Got to. Cam says bad communication in zone with Kyle, 3 touchdowns, blown coverage, 100%. I mean, that's the only thing I guess you could somehow spin into a positive is that they were not, lack of, it's not like they were just getting beat because they're just not good enough. They were getting beat because they were just mental errors, blowing coverage and leaving guys wide the hell open. So at least maybe you could twist this and say it's not a talent deficiency issue. It's a communication issue, and in theory, one is easier to fix than the other.
Should be, yeah. And the other thing too, I know we want momentum in a loss going into this, or momentum in a win going into this next game, but I tell you what, we'll be playing with some serious urgency in this Bills game at the very least.
No doubt, because I bet if you asked the coaches and gave them some truth serum and said, out of the first 3 games, which ones?
Yeah.
Like, which ones do you want to win, feel like are the most, the wins you want to win the most? If you had to lose one, I bet they'd probably pick Miami.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's see. Nathan Wells says Duvernay off with concussion. Yeah. No flag for the helmet to helmet. I watched the review.
Yeah, their helmets clash. I don't like that as a call, but technically, if it was by the rule, I think he should have gotten it. Because, the side of his helmet hit the kind of the back quarter panel of Duvernay's helmet.
I thought it has to be the crown of the helmet, though. Yeah,
that's why I say I don't like the penalty. So I'm not mad about it. I mean, but there's no doubt that impacted him. Tylan Wallace getting the catch at the end, I think, was a direct result of that concussion.
Yeah. I mean, why else would he be on the field, right?
Exactly. But this was a game that I hope does not haunt the Ravens for the remainder of the season. But you lose an AFC game, you lose your home opener. This is a game that could be the tiebreaker that loses the Ravens a playoff berth. It very well could be.
Yeah, 28 fourth quarter points unacceptable. Mike D, what you doing? Yeah, I mean, 100%. I agree. The first portion of it, the second portion, none of the running backs showed up. None of them, right? Like, Lamar, just hand it to yourself, dude. I mean, it's much more productive that way. But yeah, the defense, 28 points in a quarter. Golly day. I mean, all of the Ravens legends are losing their minds here defensively, right? Like, how do you?
Oh, Mike McDonald is not sleeping tonight, dude.
Nope. And
there's just no way.
Him and John are staying after for some extra. John, and Kyle Hamilton. John's like, all right, boys, come on. You're both young enough to be my kids. Let's have a sit down here. Yeah, let's watch some extra tape.
Don't you think that? Like, I have confidence that Mike McDonald will attack this problem with every moment that he can. Like, I think. I'm at least confident that he's not going to be like hard-headed, stubborn, not bullish. Like, I think he'll do a deep dive, do some real self-scouting, and I think they'll fix the problem as long as health doesn't become too crippling on the back end.
Yeah, Marlon will be back though.
He's tough.
Yeah, he'll be back. And I tell you what, we're gonna have a lot more to talk about this game in our next show as well. A
Yeah.
lot more, because I'm excited to dig deep into it, look at the snap count. Hopefully we'll get some clarity on whether it was a communication issue or the corners just got beaten. That's what it was. James Lee Wiley. There you go, James. Dallas balling 14-3 and just sacked Burrow.
Yep, 2nd and 16 right now. They're backed up inside their own 20. 14-3. So, they almost sacked Burrow again, but he got out of it.
Don't forget, though, Glenn, he's the second coming of Tom Brady. Don't forget.
Yeah, sure. Tom Brady, by the way, he ain't losing today. He knocked that Saints little issue right out of the park. But yeah, I also want to touch on, we talked about defensively quickly, keys to the game. Tackling was mine. I thought they tackled well in the first half.
Yep.
Obviously,
did you notice a sizable difference in the second half, though?
Yeah, and I mean, look, Marlon's a big part of their tackling in the secondary, and with him off the field, I think that was a big one, man. Losing him was big.
I don't have the doc in front of me. I'm trying to remember what my defensive key to the game was.
Make Tua think twice.
Right. Make Tua think twice. And I tell you what, homeboy was not thinking twice when he was pulling it, ripping it, man. I mean, dude was ripping it. He had, 6 touchdowns?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, our offensive breakout player, you had Duvernay. I'll give you credit, even though it didn't come on offense, because you lead the game with a kick return for a touchdown. That's a game you should always win. Still can't believe this didn't happen. With the flock, Dobbins is ready. D-Rookies is showing, but Stanley needs to come back. Nobody fears Drake. 3 yards in backfield, up 21 and lose. Hopefully, New England is different. I get that's in 2 weeks, right? Because I think we play Buffalo next. Yeah, they gotta
New England's next week, apparently.
Oh,
DK,
is it?
Can you verify that?
Oh, okay. Next week, then Bills at home the following. Okay, all right. Tyler, what's going on, nephew? What's going on, buddy? I'm not sure exactly, Tyler. Something called a super chat, but I'm not really sure how to do it. Manny said, I wanted Faalele to punch one in. That's what was really baffling to me, because in those short yardage situations, we saw them bring Faalele on the field.
Still couldn't get the push.
Still couldn't. Even with Oliver and Mandrews and Likely moving in motion and Ricard.
Hey, I want to say something. I want to say something. Did anyone see the comment on the tweet from Nick Boyle's wife today?
No, what'd she say? Is she salty?
So Cole Jackson, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Retweeted, I think, someone from Baltimore beat down that a guy sitting on a bench doing one of these. And he said, the look on my face after the Ravens can't get a run game, after the Ravens don't dress Nick Boyle, and the Ravens can't run the ball. And she said, I wish I could retweet this.
Wow.
Shots fired? Shots fired?
Oh, certainly shots fired. I think Nick Boyle's going to have a talk with his wife.
Yeah.
And say, chill out.
Yes.
There's other ways to do that. But yeah, maybe Nick Boyle does see some time, and Josh Oliver's inactive next week. It's not like Oliver made an impact today.
Whatever we got to do, if that means putting Nick Boyle in at guard, I don't care. We need the best people at moving people in front of them on the field.
100%. Got to do it.
So DK confirmed it's Patriots, then Bills.
Okay, good. Because I have no fear of that offense of the Patriots, by the way. 0.
Or the play callers?
Yeah, or the play callers. But I'm glad that they beat the Steelers today, bursting their bubble after they were riding awfully high, beating Cincinnati in week 1. All righty. So quickly, let's go over our over-unders after we get to Edwin. Edwin says the amount of miscommunication in the secondary turned my head hair gray. Yes, 100%. Like, what the hell? Get it together. I get you're a unit that's, hadn't had a ton of time together, but I mean, my goodness, what these guys are bringing to the table on the outside. You can't come in here with communication errors. I mean, how hard? What are you talking? Guys, we got to remember this is football. What are they talking about? This isn't like rocket science like Joe Flacco used to say, right? It's football.
Right.
Come on. Learn how to communicate.
Let's see here.
Tyler, my guy. Hold on. Put that Tyler up there.
My guy.
Nephew, Tyler. Shout out, my guy.
He did it. He figured it out. You now know more than Glenn.
Yeah, now you know more than me. Absolutely. But here, Tariq says today's run based on talent and not strategy. Today's run based on talent and not strategy.
So if you're talking about the way
like the way we're running the game
are orchestrated today, I disagree with that. Where you
or maybe he's
talent,
saying
but...
the only running that we did today was based on talent.
Oh, okay. Well,
because
fair enough.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Lamar.
Certainly.
It was Lamar running 80 yards right up the belly of the beast. It was pretty much all the run game today, outside of maybe a couple.
Oh, we skipped Edwin too. I think we did. Oh
Circle
no,
back.
you said no, my bad. You talked about my bad.
Now I know Tyler. I think meant to put up. A thing earlier when he just had a blank super chat. So I'm going to throw this up. Imagine our D sells and Lamar plays perfect. This hurts. The holding back of JK is ridiculous. I thought we were going to come in here with our feet up at the end of that third quarter, talking hella about how good Lamar is and how I thought we were going to hear a lot about how much he should be getting paid, which we're still going to hear a ton about. But yeah, that defense is the story now, man. You blow it, that lead.
And definitely the secondary. I mean, I know it's the entire unit, but the secondary was just brutal. And we have so much money in the secondary, which is just crazy to think about. Let's see. Looney Agosto says, go for it on fourth with the lead. Why? Great question. Please explain, especially knowing what could happen if it failed with that field position. Yeah, because I know that since Lamar, we've been aggressive and things like that. And John likes to follow the statistics, but John Harbaugh, I've always credited him for him understanding that there's three phases to the game. And that you can win in a multitude of ways. And John knows how to do it as a coach. He knows how to win field position battles when he has to. And so that is a head scratcher for me. John usually doesn't make those mistakes. But look, Looney, if they convert on that, then we're not even talking about it, right? Because it's such a momentum swing. So it's just so difficult to say this moment, that moment at the end. But with that being said, Glenn, that's what you get paid the big bucks for. To make the right decisions, the right moment. So there's so many things on both sides of this argument that you can take. But all I know is at the end of the day, if they but if they execute, we aren't having this discussion.
Well, I mean, look, I think John Harbaugh was lacking confidence that his defense could get a stop to save the game. So he said, look, I got 4th and 1. I got Lamar Jackson as my quarterback. Right. If I get this, the game is over. So he went for it, and the guys couldn't get it done. I don't blame this on John Harbaugh. I mean, he's an aggressive coach. I think if you ask every player in that room, they're all happy he went for it. He put confidence in those guys, and they let him down. They didn't make their blocks. They didn't make the play. They just didn't do it. So I'm not mad about coach. I'm mad at the players for not executing. 4th and 1, you can't get a yard. With Lamar Jackson, you can't get an inch. How about that goal line? The ball was 2 inches from the goal line, and you fall. I mean, you can't get a freaking inch.
Yep.
Come on, that's not the coach. That's the players.
Yeah. Well, let's get to our over-unders, and then we'll get back. We'll get back to this on Tuesday. Make sure you guys chime in. But we're going to take a deep dive into this game, get you guys prepped for the next game. But certainly, we're going to be peeling the onion back on this game and dissecting it. So. All right, let's get to our DK. I think we're just going to do our show winner, right?
Yeah.
And then Tuesday
because we had an even more unprecedented group of entries for the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, let's talk about our over-unders and reveal our winners. DK, do you mind throwing up the first over-under real quick? Ravens rushing yards 105, obviously over because Lamar Jackson did that himself.
Yes,
relatively deceiving. But let's see. I know Glenn went over. DK went under. Brad went over. I don't remember what I did.
You went under. So me and Brad were correct. You and DK.
I gotta pull this up.
Once again, incorrect. So me and Brad 1-0. You guys 0-1. All right. Moving on to the other offensive over under. Isaiah Likely receptions 4.5. Under was the answer, and we all correctly guessed under. Although he did have a decent a bounce back game. Thought he picked up he had the penalty where he picked up late, and he had some catches. He did have that one drop, but it would have been taken back anyway by a holding. And then so all of us got that right, 100% under. We all thought that correctly. So me and Brad 2-0, you two 1-1. Moving on to the defensive over unders. The first of which was.
Ravens forced turnovers, 2.5 turnovers. And this is where the Ravens failed me. Marcus Williams almost got 3 himself. The number was stuck at 2. So I went over, got that wrong. Glenn got that right. DK also got that wrong, and Brad got that right.
So me and Brad 3 and over through the first two, and Jimmy and DK 1 and 2. All right, the final one, the last one is Kyle Hamilton total tackles 3.5. He of course goes over that number. Even though, let's be honest, he didn't have the greatest tackling day. And you know, he had some moments where, you know, he could certainly get better in communication, but he did go over that number. Let me see. He had a total of 4 tackles. So just barely.
Hold on a second. Is my math wrong here, DK? You gave me 2 out of 4. I think I got 3 out of 4.
Now you got the 2 middle ones wrong.
Hold on. I got
right. Yeah, you got the first
Isaiah,
one wrong, and you got the third
Isaiah.
one wrong.
Oh, you're right. I did pick under on the run. My bad.
How dare you question DK's bookkeeping?
Well, he got 1 out of 4, so I was questioning his.
But me and Brad did correctly predict over as well as Jimmy, but not DK. So me and Brad go a perfect 4 for 4. I know this comes as no surprise to those still watching.
Yeah, but who won? That's the real question.
So we had to go to the tiebreakers because me and Brad are tied 4-4 after the over-under. So the first tiebreaker, total yards for the Ravens. The total was 473. DK predicted 275. Wow, was he off? I mean, wow. Next closest, 310. I predicted. I was completely wrong. Intern Brad, 320. Jimmy, 360. So, Jimmy, you were the closest, but of course, you were not factoring in. Moving on, total score.
Yeah, who won, though?
Brad won. Let me just say it now. Brad won.
Yeah. Son of a gun. All that way. You came all that way, Glenn.
2 weeks in a row, I lose by a hair.
Hey, a hair or a mile, you still lost.
I'm frustrated.
You're like LeBron in the finals.
I'm like the Ravens in the fourth quarter.
You just go to all those finals and then just lose. The Warriors. Brad's like the Warriors with Durant, dude.
Damn it.
Should have called a timeout, JR. No, just kidding. I don't think they had any timeouts. Anyway, okay. You did good, Glenn.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. But you still lost. Tough loss for you.
Yeah, Tyler says Pepe is better than Jalen. Hold on. Jalen who? Who's he talking about? I need clarification on that because if you're talking about Jalen Ramsey, I'm about to hide your comment. Not a fan on that Waddle catch. Also, I know Ty Hill had a bad day at first, but he a 100% double no matter what. This hurt. Yeah, that's why it made no sense when Armour Davis was backpedaling and allowed Ty to run by him.
Yeah.
Of course he allowed it, because there's no way the Ravens didn't have a safety that was supposed to be over the top of Ty Hill. There's just no way that they went out there with a coverage that didn't involve someone over the top. Oh,
he probably means Armour Davis is what Troy's saying. Jalen Armour Davis.
Oh, Jalen Armour Davis. Yeah, okay. But the problem is Pepe is the only natural inside corner on the team. So Pepe has to stay inside.
And he had a nice pass breakup in the end zone, had a nice tackle on Ty Hill.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he had a nice game.
I think that was more of a safety issue than an Armour Davis issue. But, you know.
Let's see. Manny says Monday at the office after a home L like this.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It's depressing. At least you don't have to work at a sports bar. Then you're going to have to hear nothing but Skip Bayless and Screaming A. Smith talk about how, I don't want to hear it. I have no energy for it.
Tough loss to swallow. The talk shows tomorrow going to roast our secondary issues are fixable. Just hope it doesn't become a trend moving forward. Fingers crossed. I also hope that it is and like you said, Glenn, a positive spin could be that seems to be mental lapses, and hopefully that those things are easier to fix. So I'm excited to dig into all these things on Tuesday as well. Make sure you guys join us.
Yeah.
I think we're going to end it here in our commiserating, but
it helps me to come here.
Yeah,
I hope it helps everyone else to come here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just dive into the cold water. Let's just get it over with.
Yep.
Just face it head on, and we'll hope the Ravens can learn from this, move forward, and we'll cheer for the boys the rest of this afternoon. But let's give some quick shout outs, and also we'll reveal. I'm struggling right now. It's because I'm hungry. Reveal our winner on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Black Daniels shout out. Let's see who else we got. Tyler Brooks, of course, Glenn's cousin.
Nephew,
excuse me. Davon Nelson. Let's see. Tanja Bowman, of course, RTV, Joshua Hunter, McDiamond in here. Jamal J, Mac G. I'm not giving a shout out to any of the Dolphins guys. Sorry. All you guys that came out, huge numbers today. Look, everything's going to be fine. We're going to get through it. We need to make some changes, but I think we got the guys to do it from the front office down to the players.
And the good thing is the AFC North all in trouble this week. So didn't
right.
lose any ground in the division. That's
right.
the
So
silver
enjoy
lining.
the rest of the week as far as the football week. We'll see you on Tuesday to talk about this game more in depth and moving forward to that Patriots game.
Yep.
Talk to you soon.
See you.